All right. We're about to go on live. And we are live, actually. So let's shut me up and play that music, right? All right, let's do that. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am your host, Baby Moy, representing the ENTHooligins crew. Welcome to this beautiful Thursday. And alongside me, I have Boogie Bugs and Lil Crystal here in the house. And ladies and gentlemen, a little change of pace. We were supposed to bring you a football podcast today with Sports Vista, but this is another episode of Endless Possibilities, and we're going to be discussing faith. But before we get to all that, I want to remind you guys to please thumbs up, subscribe, join the ride, join us on the journey, be one with us. And links are down below, provided for all of you who want to link up to our Facebook, hook up with our Twitter, and also my personal Twitter is listed down below alongside my Mixer account where you could watch my gameplays. You can also listen to Endless Possibilities or any other podcast that we provide you with here on ENTHooligins, on Anchor, and on Spotify. Those links are also provided for you down below. You can also email us if you're afraid to comment down below because maybe you're shy or you don't want to throw out your thoughts and ideas out in the public. You can privately hit us up at ENTHooligins at gmail.com. That is ENTHooligins at gmail.com. With that out of the way, we're going to send a couple of shout-outs, and to do that, we're going to introduce Boogie Bugs, our newest colleague, and Lil Crystal. The chat room is open, by the way, so give me a holla.
Hey guys, hope you guys are having a wonderful Thursday afternoon. Happy football day. Yes, happy football day. And I'd like to do shout outs, and the shout outs are, let's see, I feel like I'm opening an envelope or something. Shout outs to Baby Moy, to Ness, to Melissa, our newest colleague. I'm super glad to have you on the team. This is going to be so much fun. We're going to give the guys a run for their money, right? Yeah? You think? Maybe? Anyway.
Good afternoon from me as well. I'm sorry. And shout outs to Ness, my mom, my stepbrothers, let's see, my brother Camilo, and all our listeners today. Keep,
That's right.
Subscribing, keep liking, commenting, etc.
Yes, shout outs to Irene. Hopefully you're in the driver's seat now going home. Shout outs to Elsie, Elsa, Filipita, Jose, Esther. Hope you are enjoying your vacay in Corpus. Hopefully it's awesome and it's not too wet over there, because where I'm at it's raining again. Yay!
I want to send
Shout out to Jen.
I want to send this.
Joey.
I can't get my shout outs.
I just have too many people to shout out, and they get angry if I don't shout them out.
Whatever. I want to send a special shout out to my mom, to my dad, Tony, Anthony. Thank you so much, brother. Shout outs to Chris. Shout outs to the people at Misha's Music Element. What's up, Misha? How you doing as well? A shout out to Nancy. Also want to shout out all the rest of the beautiful people who watch us and who listen to us on whichever platform you decide to stream us and or VOD us. Because that's what we do here at ENTHooligins. We bring you a little bit of everything, even a little bit of controversy. Which reminds me, shout out to Mr. Master over there. How you doing?
Masturbator.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
And shout out to everybody else that I forgot to shout out.
Yes.
Because there's too many people to name. Sorry.
And shout out to the people who commented to Masturbator.
Shout outs
Shout
outs to you too, John. What's going on, John? I hope you're listening to us,
What's
buddy.
up, John?
So, with that out of the way, we're going to be discussing a little bit of faith. And you know what? Normally, I would play some nice piano music for you guys on shows like this, but what is wrong with being a little bit unorthodox, man? Come on.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
No. Isn't there a song called Faith by George Michael?
Yes, there is.
There's, right?
Yes, there
I like
is.
that song.
So,
Yeah, you gotta have faith.
absolutely. Absolutely gotta have faith. I mean, what do we have without faith? First of all,
Okay.
what do we have without faith? And to coincide with that question, what are the elements of faith?
Faith is, the definition of faith is the definition of faith is believing in what you're not seeing. For example, let's talk about the weather. You can't see the sun, right?
Yeah.
But you can feel it. You can't see the wind. You can hear it. You can feel it. You can't see the rain. You can see the rain clouds. But you have faith in all that's going to work, right? The sun's going to come out tomorrow or whatever.
Yeah, but you can physically
You have
feel
faith in
those things, though.
Yes. Now let's talk about spiritual faith. What is spiritual faith? Mo, what's spiritual faith? Melissa, what's spiritual faith?
Spiritual faith? What is spiritual faith? That's a great question. Spiritual faith to me, wow. I was not expecting to get hit by that question. maybe if Bugs over here could elaborate before I can on what spiritual faith is, I'd appreciate that while I gather my thoughts.
Okay, what's spiritual faith?
What was
to
the
you,
question
Melissa?
about spiritual faith?
What is
What
spiritual faith?
I think spiritual faith is, following by feel and, what you feel inside and what you can't see. Because if you can see it, you already know it's there, but faith is beyond believing something is there. It's really trusting with your whole heart and soul, like 100%, that it's there. Like, your higher power, which for me is God. I can't, physically touch him and I can't hear him, but I know he's there because of what he's done for me and what he's done for other people around me. By his actions and what he's actually moved and, rearranged and stuff.
Right. Yeah, to me, faith is just reiterating on what Melissa said. It's seeing what, we're not seeing, but believing in what you cannot see. Such as, God. And what you said about not hearing God, I believe God does speak to you. You just have to listen. And he sends people, or he'll do things that make you listen to him. Not make you listen to him, but you want to listen to him.
Okay, how would you, however, explain that sort of faith to someone who, say, doesn't believe in God?
I had to do that, actually, to an evolutionist. That was a lot of fun. She had asked me one day, why are you so happy? I want what you have. The simplest answer was, I'm happy because I have God in my life, therefore I have faith. Oh, you have God in your life? Really? Yes, I have God in my life, therefore I believe in him. That is what faith is. Faith is believing in something that is bigger than yourself.
Okay, but...
She said,
Go on.
She said, oh, okay, that's cool. But then I got the question again, why are you so happy? It was
because and the reason I asked this is because you're not gonna convince a non-believer when it comes to God. You're not gonna convince them with those words, when you're trying to bring the definition of faith across to them, what they need is something a bit more concrete, if I could put it that way. Because they don't understand the concept of feel God.
Right.
Okay, well, probably by the actions and the concrete examples that you can give them, a non-believer has to see, figuratively speaking, what you're talking about.
Right.
Like with me, when I want to talk to a non-believer, they're like, oh, I don't believe in that God, explicitive, or I don't want to believe in that. Oh, okay, well, I have a transplant and I'm still here. I wasn't supposed to be here, but the man upstairs wanted me to be here. My transplant has been for a while now, like 14 years, and it's like it's my own kidney. It's like, how can you not believe in God after something like that?
Right.
They're like, well, you had great doctors and the medication. It's
right.
Like, no.
Exactly. That's exactly what they would chop it up to. You had the great doctors, is what they're gonna say. Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
that got me thinking after she said what she said, right? So I was like, you know what? Let me get back to her on that. So a couple of days later, we were discussing this again, and I had said, look, the doctors told your mother that you weren't supposed to be here when you were born, but you're here. You're a miracle. How do you explain that? Oh, once again, she said because of the doctors.
Right. Yeah.
And I said, okay, but did science put the doctors there? I went back to that. I went back to what she knew, right? And she said, well, no, because back then they didn't know the stuff that they know now.
Okay, go on.
They were just doing their job. And I said, oh. So fast forward. We left it at that. Fast forward. Years later, something traumatic happened to her. She's still here. Then she said, I see what you mean. I'm a miracle. I wasn't supposed to be here. God was watching over me. And I said, yeah, he was. So now
Go on.
she's not a total believer. She still has doubts.
I think honestly that when it comes to trying to illustrate your faith or trying to convey and have somebody, let's say, not so much believe, but to have them understand where you're coming from, I don't think that it's, first of all, obviously it's not that easy, but secondly, it's a matter of, I think, them having to go through something personal for them to get the picture, because through you, me, or anybody else, it's kind of a gamble. Either they're gonna get it or they won't. Either they're gonna be curious enough to either they're gonna be curious enough to keep on digging and wanting to know the source of your happiness, or they're just gonna chop it up to their own beliefs and faith until something happens to them where they quote unquote see the light of God.
Correct. You and I were talking about this one day. We were having a conversation about this, Mo. And we both had agreed, when do we come to God? When do we come to Jesus? When do we accept his salvation? When we're at rock bottom.
Yes.
And that's the same thing.
Yes.
With faith. You have to hit that point. Something has to happen to you, because we all come to Christ when something happens to us. We don't come to Christ when everything's like really good and stuff before we know him.
Yeah.
We come to him once we reach that pinnacle of, God, I can't do this anymore. I need you.
Yeah. That's a good point. A lot of people do that, though. A lot of people, I mean, all of us.
Guilty.
Yeah.
All of us. Oh God, and it's only oh God when stuff hits the fan, right? So
Yes, and we
Oh
still
God, ay Dios mío, yes.
Oh God!
do it. And we still do it.
Yes.
Even firm believers in Christ, we still get off the path sometimes. And I'm going to ask you this again. I asked you this last week. Don't you just hate it when God is telling you something and you decide, you know what, Lord, I'm just going to do it my way, and you do it your way and it doesn't work out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I should have listened to you.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean, but that's how we are. We rather listen to ourselves most of the time than listen to a voice of reason, even when the voice of reason, or even when it's God himself, and you know it's God himself, you still decide, let me just take the other route, knowing that God is the one that's going to steer you to the correct route.
Because we're stubborn by nature.
Yes.
Yes. We are. Yep.
We just want to
And
hear
Satan
ourselves
plays
talk.
up to that. Yeah.
Exactly.
That too. Satan plays up to that,
Absolutely does.
you know? And I was reading an article the other day about a psychologist did a study on Christians. And she said that believing in God is like having schizophrenia.
Oh my.
What? Because you hear voices in your head. That's what she boiled it down to. You hear voices in your head.
Oh God, no, you're not crazy.
You're not crazy.
I actually had somebody tell me that too. If you hear God talking to you, then you're definitely crazy. You hear voices in your head, then something's wrong. You need to see a doctor.
Wow. Somebody told you that?
Yeah, if you can hear God speaking to you, then something is really wrong.
Oh
Like
my
you need to
God.
stop and evaluate if you have schizophrenia.
My
That's
gosh.
why when you said voices in your head, I'm like, yep.
Okay. So, how do you deal with people?
Wait, you didn't answer the first question, Mo.
What?
What is faith to you? Still can't, can you?
No. It's a hard thing to explain.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So your question was what? How do people...
Yeah, before I rudely got interrupted, how do you deal with people who say otherwise when you're trying to present a particular argument or case?
Well, I just speak my piece and keep it moving, because I don't have time to convince you. I do what I know what I feel, and I share my experiences, but I'm not going to do anything extra. I'm not going to overexert myself either.
Right.
Because if you don't believe, you don't believe. And that's just going to be up to you to be shown the way or
Right.
whatever, or turn a blind eye to it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't want
Like,
to
I
see it,
mean-
you don't want to see it. If you
Yeah,
don't want to hear
I
me,
mean-
it's okay.
I can tell you about my experience. That's fine. I could tell you about my experience all day. I can talk to you about God all day. But if you're not ready to see it, I'm not going to force my beliefs on you.
But Crystal and Mo, the thing is with these people also, they confuse us with, us who believe with those religious people who go around with the flyers and that condemning them to hell all the time.
Oh yeah, of course they do.
Yeah.
Because that's what they see.
Exactly. And it's
We're
so much saturation of that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I can't tell you. In fact, I can't. Okay. So my church has started going out with flyers. There's a committee that does that, and I just found out about this. We never used to do that. I'm sorry, but I don't like that. I mean, there were no flyers back in Jesus' day. It was word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we need flyers?
Controversies, right?
Yes, another controversial show.
Yeah, but luckily with this show, there are level-headed people.
Yes.
Believe it or not.
I'm praying that there are.
Oh, believe it or not, there are.
There are.
We've done a lot of these shows, and they turn out fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, why can't people see God through you? Why does it have to be a picture or a flyer somewhere?
Right, because what they say is God is the light, Jesus is the light that you represent, so you have to walk with that light shining. And people are going to be able to see that through the way that you speak, through the things that you say, through your actions, right? Through presentation.
Yes. Not through a flyer.
I feel like I'm selling a video game here.
I know, right?
Just like the lady on the bus that you guys encountered, you did not see that light in her.
No, not at all. Despite the fact that she said up and down that, oh man, I gotta go to church. I'm gonna be so late. Oh man, I have a presentation to do. Yeah, no. Lady, you're not fooling anyone. Not when you're throwing stones at everybody else. Not when you have this poor driver over here on edge. You know, she listen, this could have potentially caused an accident, but again, you want to listen to that, listen to Tuesday's podcast.
A presentation?
Yeah, shout out to the driver and the man upstairs for getting everybody
absolutely
to go.
Yeah, she had a presentation. She had to sing. Don't ask.
Do you know what? You don't present to God.
Well, that's what she said.
Wow. That just baffles my mind.
Well, she had to sing. Come on. I wish I had a recording of her singing.
Yeah, but church is not a fashion show or a show for you. It's supposed to be for God.
Well, yeah, and then she went into this whole thing. Oh my gosh, people are, their eyes are gonna be focused not on the altar because, lady, ain't nobody looking at you.
Because of her.
Ain't nobody looking at you. But anyway, the point of the matter is this. One could say, until they're red, blue, green, orange in the face, I am a believer in Christ, I do believe in God, or whatever else it is you believe in. But if your words, if your actions, if the rest of what embodies you does not personify that, then it's all a bunch of garbage.
Okay.
Like, stone throwing is not the way to get people to church.
No.
No, not at all. There is
or
a
to
story.
God.
There is a story that I have told, I think on here. I know I told Mo and our other colleague Ness this. Every time I get on a plane or I get on a bus and I go somewhere, there is always someone next to me who's watching out for me. Always. It never fails. Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to tell you this story. It's my Starbucks story. Mo loves this story. I was in California with my friend, and there were these two gentlemen across the table from us, and they were talking about God. And I wanted to jump in, but I didn't want to be rude. So, one of the gentlemen left, and this man was sitting across from me. My friend shut down because I had said, "Excuse me, I didn't want to jump in, but are you a Christian?" And he said, yes ma'am. I said, "I couldn't help notice you talking about God. God's great." And he said, "Yes." So my friend shut down. she didn't say anything. She tried, but that guy was like, nope, you're not a believer, you know. And so he had asked me to pray for him, this man did. And I said yes. Now, I've never seen this man after that. Oh, yeah, and he was a new Christian as well.
Oh.
Him and his wife were. But my point is, he saw the light in me. And that's beautiful.
Wow.
Because I'm glorifying God. I didn't do it for myself. That's big. And you know, it's funny because they see light in you and you don't even notice it. Has that ever happened to you guys?
Yeah. I've been called a blessing by people that I work with at my substituting jobs, or, you know, when I'm just out and about doing stuff, just being me, or being good to the kids, or whatever.
But you don't see it, right?
They'll say it, but no, I don't expect it. I don't see it coming, if that's what you mean.
No, what I mean is, like, do you ever just be like, well, how am I a blessing? I'm just doing my job. I'm just helping you guys.
Yeah, I've asked that. And they're like, well, because you're here and you genuinely want to be here. You're very respectful. You love the kids or whatever.
Right. And isn't that beautiful because you're glorifying God? You don't do it for yourself.
Yeah.
Mo, has that ever happened to you?
Hold on, I'm getting feedback.
I'm getting feedback.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I feel like I'm at a club.
I know, right?
Me too.
Okay, that's better.
Yep,
This does sound like club music, though.
It does.
it does.
It does. Yeah, my
So-
my ears were getting murdered there a little bit, but it's okay.
Oh,
Stuff happens.
I'm sorry. I was disconnected from the chat for a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm suffering a little bit of technical difficulties over here. I apologize.
Oh, it's all right.
Oh, don't worry about it.
It happens. Yeah, no worries.
Now, could
Well,
you
has
could
that
you
ever
su-
happened
could you
to you?
summarize it though? Because I had a lot in my ears, so.
Oh, I had asked Melissa if that's ever happened to her. Like, people have seen the light in her, and she doesn't even know it.
Oh yeah, it does happen. Even
And she
when
said,
even when that isn't what your intent was to begin with, that does occur.
Right? Has that ever happened to you?
Because it usually happens when it's not your intent. You're not looking for it.
exactly.
Things happen
Right.
when you're
Yeah,
not
like
looking
when-
for them.
Right, and I
Right,
think
like
and I think that those are the greatest demonstrations and examples of one bringing their faith, because when you put so much of a heavy load on your back and you're so into this concept of, oh, I have to bring the faith, I have to this, that, and the third, I have to bring this many
Yeah.
believers, I have to save this many people, you lose track
You know,
of
in
everything.
some churches there are quotas.
Oh, I know.
Really?
Yeah, there is.
Yes.
And you lose track. You lose track of what's really important. You lose track of bringing forth a message that comes across as genuine and not a message that came across because of you having a quote-unquote responsibility. Do things
Right.
because bring your faith forth because you want to be genuine about it, and don't look at it as a responsibility, even though yes it is. As Christians we are brought forth to bring the faith, to spread the word,
Yes.
to show people how we believe, but it's also not supposed to be something that breaks our back end or spirit.
Right, and this could also be tied in with grace.
Yes.
Yes.
You have people who are so involved in their church that they forget about God. They forget about Jesus Christ.
Right.
Because they're so involved.
Yes. Thus, everything that they say, every course of action is reference to, the church this, the church needs that, the church does this, the church went here, the church went there. What about God?
How are
That's
you
just a
glorifying
physical
God?
building that your guys are worshiping.
Yes.
In. It's not, a blueprint for getting to God.
Yes.
Per se.
Exactly. So come on, folks. Calm down with that just a little bit, please. Is your faith placed in God, in Jesus, or is it placed in an object, a building that can't even save you?
Yes.
What saves is your faith.
Because at the end of the day, you're worshiping a false idol.
Genuine faith.
If you're worshiping the church, that's a false idol.
Yes.
No, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot fake the funk on this one.
That's true, man. So, in what ways, shape, or form has faith presented itself to us personally? Was there ever a moment in time in your lives where y'all said, or y'all examined the situation and said, man, I see that's what faith is all about? Where it just hits you right between the eyes. For me, and let me get into this here. I'm not gonna touch upon the whole story per se. But one of the most horrific nights of my life was also one of the most outstanding and, shall I say, glory-filled days of my life as well. So how could something be so horrendous and yet lead to something so positive and majestic? So, to put it in short terms, guys, to not make the story long, I dealt with a relative of a friend of mine who was attacked and who had an episode where he basically wasn't himself. And for about 7 hours plus, there was a lot of physicality involved, and there was a lot of spiritual warfare and prayer involved. I, for one, at the initial stage of this, when I began to notice the transformation in this person, I immediately knew what it was. And at the same time, I find myself going, Lord, I need you. How am I going to combat this? I told my friend, leave the room now. And after say 5 minutes of me being alone with this individual, after I had quote unquote sedated him and mustered enough strength to pin this person down, I took these 5 minutes, walked outside of the room, called my friend back in the room and told him, I need your help, because if I am to hold this guy down and pray and use up all of that spiritual strength, I'm going to be absolutely exhausted, and who knows what might happen. Believe me, I was so scared, but yet scared and felt so warm and so protected. I felt like there was this light wrapped around me. I felt like nothing could harm me. And it wasn't a sense of, I'm the man, I got an ego, this is what it is, I am what's up. It was a sense of me feeling empowered, but at peace. I felt such peace and so calm, knowing that I was in a situation that is fearful, a situation that I wish upon nobody. But yet I felt the strength of God around me. I felt it. I felt two things that night. The strength of God, the love of God, everything that embodies God. And the other thing that I felt before this went down, let me backtrack a little bit. My friend and I, we were talking about just the day and what we had done, the transcourse of the day and documentaries that we had watched. Now, mind you, I'm sitting on one side of the room, he's sitting on the other side of the room. And as we're talking, we felt this thud straight smack in the middle of our chests. Now, only me and my friend felt it. The relative of this person didn't feel it at all. But instinctively, we turned toward each other and we said, "Did you feel that?" I immediately bowed down my head, clasped my hands together, and started to pray. My question is, and to this day, I ask myself this question, what was that?
I think I have an answer if you want it.
Wow.
Sure.
It was that spirit trying to attack you and it couldn't.
Oh my.
Now, something very similar, well, not similar. Okay, I was 6 years old. And my dad was asleep across from where I was sleeping and my mom. And I woke up and I heard footsteps. And somebody in my dad's voice saying, "Shut up," over and over and over and over again. I woke up my mom. My mom said, "Oh, it's nothing." So she said, "Go back to sleep." Well, I couldn't go back to sleep. It kept doing it, and it kept walking just like my dad would walk. But I knew my dad was asleep. He was snoring in the next bed. So I asked it, "Who are you?" And it said, "No one," and it left. Now here's my question. What was that?
Again, it's a damned soul.
Yeah.
And I was 6, but I felt protected.
Yeah.
In my 6-year-old mind, I thought it was my mom.
Wow.
But looking back on it, it was God that was protecting me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know about you guys, but whenever I have a problem and I speak to God about it, or I pray about anything, doesn't matter what it is, I just have a conversation, I have such peace in my heart. It's amazing.
Faith can be such a thing that it comes in different forms, sizes, shapes, categories. Faith can present itself in the most gentlest of ways, in the most horrific of ways. It has no boundaries.
Now,
Yes.
I have to tell you guys about an amazing experience that happened to me last Sunday. There is a beautiful lady. She is amazing. This lady will pray for you in the middle of the store, and her faith in God is so incredible. She's 85 years old, this woman, and she's got the energy of like how old did you say, Mo? 20? Something like that. Her energy's...
I don't know. She's quite amazing, I could tell you that.
Yeah, she really is. And so I'm next to her, and I felt like I was giddy with so much energy. I just wanted to like smile and jump around and laugh and just be happy. but it was the light of God in her that was going through me.
Right. Yeah. And again, a presentation of that light that we're supposed to carry forth and shine and reflect on other people too.
Yeah. Definitely. But yes, this woman is amazing. She's a lot of fun. Like I said, this woman will, I mean, she's got no shame. You ask her, oh, can you pray for me? She'll stop in the middle of the supermarket, whatever she's doing, and she'll pray for you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's really special.
She really is special. And she'll sing.
Go on. I thought you
She'll
were going to
sing
add on.
songs about God and everything, and she's amazing. I love her to death. And seeing her makes me want to be a better Christian. I want people to see God like that in me when I'm around her age, or like it's incredible.
When we step back and when we examine ourselves and evaluate us as a Christian person, what do we see in the mirror? That's a hard question and a hard reflection to look at most times.
Yeah.
Because, frankly, what I see when I step in front of that mirror and I look at my spiritual reflection, I look at somebody who every day, first of all, has improvement to do. That's a given.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, there have been times when me personally, I look at somebody with what I assume or presume has quote unquote greater faith, if I could put it that way.
Yes.
And you guys will get what I mean when I get there. But there are times when I observe people and I hear the way that they speak. You observe their mannerisms. You know, just by the first word that they utter, where they are at with God, where they stand with the man. And I look at myself and I say to myself, man, I wish I had that. Man, I wish I could be that person. Man, if I only had faith that, immense. And the thing is, it presents itself, yes. It has presented itself, yes. I have been there, yes. I've been able to illustrate that same amount of faith to others, yes. But here's the reality of it all, folks. Some people, when it comes to demonstrating and shining that light on a constant, it is such a tremendous feat of strength. It is such a tremendous illustration of willpower, of determination, of faith, of belief. It is such an awesome stance and foundation and rock that these people stand on that you say to yourself, I wish I can be as constant.
Mm-hmm.
Because rest assured, this is what happens. Hold on. Rest assured, this is what happens. We finish this conversation. We take a few more moments to gather ourselves and PS and thank you, Lord, and right. And then I'm gonna go back to, I don't know, saying a cuss word here and there and thinking thoughts that maybe I shouldn't. And I know I'm only human. But I want to touch upon this concept of consistency. And I'm examining myself while we're on air here. So people could see where I'm coming from, right? Both believer, non-believer, on the fence people. This is the reality. This is a struggle, folks. This is the struggle. This is the battle. Those people who I just spoke of, that person who Crystal just spoke of, I am absolutely sure that there have been times in her life where she's uttered an S word, had a very mean thought in her mind. We all do it. But I rest assured that that lady doesn't have those thoughts constantly in her mind. I rest assured that that lady doesn't have cuss words coming out of her mouth and into her mind on a daily basis. I rest assured that that lady and those other folk that I just talked about, I rest assured they don't, how do I put it? Their road is rocky, but not filled with those potholes. It's the best way I could put it. And sometimes I look at these people and I say to myself, I wish I could carry as consistently as them. Which brings us to the question, why don't I? Why don't we? Here's the fact of the matter. We don't because some of us are afraid of change. We don't because we're afraid to get rejected. We don't because we're afraid that those who, quote unquote, love us won't be there to stand with us any further. We won't because the system of things will have to change. Maybe not you as a person in terms of some of the hobbies that you enjoy or some of the things that you do, but your being, your light does change. And this is how I know, folks. I used to be one of those consistent people that I'm telling you about. But here's the beauty of this. Consistent or not, the Lord still knows your heart and still understands your intentions. And to get personal with you guys, there's not a week, there's not a day that I don't think to myself, maybe this is where, or this is when, my journey completes and I come home back full circle. Shooting from the hip here.
You know, I look at myself and I think, I'm a work in progress, and there's so much about me that I need to change. This is what I think of myself. And I see these people that have faith, I mean, tremendous amount of faith, just like you're saying. Like that lady. Gosh. You know, and the same with, I wish I could be like that. And every time I think that, I hear, and I don't know if you hear this, Mo, but you can. This is what I hear from God. You can. You just don't try to. Or you're scared, like you said. You're scared of rejection. You're scared that your friends might think less of you. Stop thinking that way. Stop it and trust me. Completely.
Yeah.
Case in point, you and I were having this discussion yesterday. Abraham. Remember this conversation?
What about Abraham?
We were talking about Abraham yesterday, and I said, Abraham didn't have a plan.
Oh, about the, yeah.
Yeah. Abraham didn't have a plan when God told him to leave his home where he was comfortable. He had a wife, and she went along with him.
Yes.
But But they trusted God. And here we are. There's many examples. Daniel is another great example of trusting God.
The lions then?
Yeah.
Job.
Yeah, that is.
Job.
Yes.
Jonah. David.
But okay. It's easy to look at these people and say, but that was those times. And I get that argument because, and this is why. Because people back when, yes, as harsh as it was, a lot of people back then were also more dedicated to God, more so than this society, more so than what we are in this day and age.
Oh, definitely.
So, let's talk about today. Because it's easy to try to lead by the examples given to us by those people back in those times. But let's talk about today.
I think it is harder today. Because I think we are filled more with temptation and we have more things distracting us today.
Definitely. But do you ever look at these people and go, yeah, but that's just a little too much?
No. Because they went through what they went through for a purpose. Who I look at is the people of today. Those people who I just talked about a couple of minutes ago. Those people with immense faith that I wish I had.
Yeah, definitely. So then why can't we try? Not try, but why can't we do as they do? Because, like I just said, yeah, but what if what if they recognize it and they don't like it?
Exactly.
And you know what God is saying? So?
Yeah.
Why do you care so much about what they think? At the end of it all, you're going to be with me, not with your friends. Well, you will be with your friends.
Yeah.
But you'll be with me.
And
so why does it matter what they think?
And to clarify, I'm also talking about the true faithful, the true Christians, those who don't point, judge, those who don't condemn everyone to hell.
Right.
Those are the ones I'm talking about. Those who truly shine that light. Those who are on that consistent path. I'm not saying that they don't fall. I'm not saying that they don't hit bumps here and there, because they do. No one's perfect. No one's journey is perfect. I think the only one besides Jesus who came close to being perfect, and yet he isn't, was Paul.
Yep.
Okay? With that said, comes back to this. How do we go about obtaining that? And it goes back to what Crystal said. You have to believe that voice that tells you it's not a matter of why can't I, it's a matter of why don't you? Because you can. You can.
Yep. You just have to want to.
I think it has to do with laziness as well. I think as humans we are a little lazy when we know we have to do the right thing.
You think there haven't been times where You think there haven't been times where I have either thought, said, done, been somewhere, something, someone, somehow, somewhat, and after I do the somewhat, somehow, somewhat, somewhere, something, you think I haven't gone back and said, oh Lord, I feel terrible. I shouldn't have said, done that. But
And
what
you know what
happens?
God's telling
But
you,
what
right?
happens?
You know what God's telling you, right? Then why did you?
Yeah. But then you go back and do it all over again.
And you know what he tells you then? You knew. You knew from the first time, and you're doing it anyways.
Yep.
So you know what? I'm going to let you. I will let you do that over and over and over and over again. But you know what? I'm still here.
I'll try to have
I'm
less
never-
violent thoughts in my head. I'll try to have less sexual thoughts in my head. I'll try to have a much cleaner mindset when it comes to using verbiage and not cuss as much or at all. Because, Lord, I know you don't appreciate any of that. But you also understand that I'm human. But I also understand that I have to do these things just a little less. Now, I'm not condemning anyone who indulges in drinking, sexual immorality, or... Not that type of guy, not here. But what I am saying is if internally you feel... Now, this is on you. If internally you feel that you're not pleasing God by doing or taking these courses of action, it's easy for me to say do something about it. I think the real question is, do we want to? And obviously the answer for me is yes, I do, but... And that is ultimately what's stopping us. But Lord!
God's going, no buts.
But Lord! Lord!
No. Yeah, I know that was funny. Ha ha ha. I know. Yeah, he's going... No, none of that. Stop it. I don't wonder sometimes if God just wants to come down here and go...
Again,
Just...
and the reason I said I'm not condemning anybody here is because instead of condemning you, I'll pray for you. Won't
Amen
condemn
to
you.
that.
I'll pray for you too, Mo.
But you know, thanks.
You're welcome.
But you know, this is not only a conversation that I'm having here. This is something that I have expressed, especially to you, Crystal, several times.
Yes. Yes. There are times there are times when you say, how do I get back to the way that I was before?
Yeah.
And I ask myself that question too, because like you, I was always Bible study and small groups and choir. But I stopped. And it's due to laziness. Oh, you know what? But I don't want to miss wrestling. Then who am I worshiping here? Oh, jeez, I can't believe... Oh, man. Oh.
But the beauty of it is...
That hurts.
You know, what's... the beauty of it is... Look at that, how he still understands, right?
Mm-hmm.
How we abuse God and how he still understands.
And he's always there to welcome us back.
Yes, with open arms. It's kind of like the prodigal son, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. We're the prodigal children.
Yes. You know what's crazy is... It's incredible to me how easy it is for us to be here on air right now and even personally how we can admit these things. And maybe it is because we're not necessarily judgmental. But you tell those holier than thou people to admit their flaws?
Okay.
I could tell you this. At least I'm man enough, and at least I'm not a hypocrite, and I admit what I am, where I fall short, what I need to work on, and where I want to be, and why I struggle with it.
Can I rant?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna stand up to rant about this.
Boy.
There is a wonderful woman. Her name is Sam, where I go to at this center. And every Tuesday she does a Bible study class. There's this one man who doesn't want to go because you know why? They're all hypocrites in there. What are you? What are you? That makes you look like a holier than thou type. When you say, oh, I'm not going to go in there because they don't believe in what I believe in. They're a bunch of hypocrites. Once they leave, they go back to doing whatever they were doing. Well, don't you do that too? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's right. Because you're a hypocrite too. That's judging other people. You don't know what they've been through. What gives you that right to call them a hypocrite?
Frankly, nothing.
What gives anybody the right to call anybody a hypocrite? Because we all do the same things, maybe not the exact same things, but we all, once we come out of wherever we're, like a Bible study or something, what happens? We go back to how we were because we're human.
But it goes back to this. The ability of the true Christian to carry that for most of their day.
And this man watches TV, like preachers and stuff like that. And he reads his Bible constantly. And he'll talk to you about God all day, but yet you're a hypocrite because you go to a Bible study? How does that make sense?
No.
How?
No.
Okay, my rant's over. Sitting back down now.
It's a difficult reflection to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fun experience. But
No, wait. It's not.
it's something that... Do I want to say it's something that we must do or should do or...
I think we should do. Because it puts everything in perspective, doesn't it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It really does.
If I can chime in, just like we have relationship goals and career goals, I think we should have spiritual goals.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Now, what can those be, Bugs?
Like, okay, I don't pray every morning. Maybe I'm gonna take 5 minutes before I go to work, school, etc., and pray.
Uh-huh.
Or I'm gonna read my Bible like at least once a day, like a verse or two, or I'm gonna start with this book, or I'm gonna try to limit my cussing, or I'm going to limit my drinking, or I'm going to limit something that you think is problematic.
Right. Mm-hmm. A step-by-step how to set a goal here. You might be onto something here. Set a goal here for this week. Set another goal here. Add a little more layers as you go.
I mean, we have relationship goals, career goals, if we want to lose weight type of goals. We have all types of goals that we make. So
wow. I like
You know
that.
what? You know what I do every day? And I just started doing this? A prayer journal.
really,
Yeah.
so you write down what you are praying for, or and do you read it out loud to him, or you just write it down?
No, I read it. While I'm writing it, I read it.
Okay.
Because I used to believe, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to do a prayer journal? But you know, it's really cool because then I get my thoughts down. Even though sometimes they're scattered.
Go on.
Well, the prayer journal isn't being graded, so I think you're okay.
Yeah, exactly. My thoughts are scattered, but that's okay. Because I'm writing them down. And I'm reading them.
Yeah, this is not being turned in for a grade, so I think you're fine.
No. Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, that's what I do. I do a prayer journal. I just started doing that a couple weeks ago.
Set spiritual goals in your life. I like that. That's really good. Got me thinking.
I guess you're gonna start a journal of your own.
I'll figure it out. She does her journal thing. I'll see what I come up with and how I get
Same
inspired.
Yeah.
Because everyone gets their inspiration
Inspiration?
in different ways, through different means.
I mean, when I used to go to college, I had a Christian fellowship group, and some people just worked out together in faith. Like, they actually worked out together and prayed and everything. That was actually a small group where people just worked out.
Cool.
Now let me go here. When we were all once upon a time involved in something of faith, of spirituality, how did you feel as a person on your day-to-day? I could tell you I felt great, and I never in my life felt any better. And you know, it's crazy because even in knowing that I was walking that consistent path that I've been talking about all throughout this podcast, even in knowing the happiness that it brought, even in knowing that, man, I feel good walking a consistent path, just hitting a few bumps on the road, but I'm consistent. I'm solid with you, God. I shine that light a great % of my day. In knowing how great you felt. And we still don't go back to it. Fully. We go back to it. We acknowledge God. I can tell you, I probably acknowledge God more than average people. That's not me boasting, I'm just being honest. But even still, I say to myself, I know that's not enough. I know when I was where I was, even that wasn't enough, but I did feel satisfied. That's what I want to get to. No matter what we do, it's never gonna be enough, but satisfactory, guaranteed. I sound like an infomercial.
Yes, you do. Now we need cheesy music.
Yeah. Get on my new elliptical. It works out the complete body. If you want firmer buns, if you want wider hips, if you want to look sexy, if you want that beach body toned up for next summer, try my Fitness Witness. Coming to a store near you. You can pre-order starting next week. Satisfaction guaranteed.
My Fitness Witness?
There you go, folks.
Can you work out to Bible verses on there? You said wait.
Anyway, ruin my infomercial, will you?
I was just asking.
Anyway. Back on track. It's a tough battle, folks. And again, even knowing where it brought us, the pinnacle of happiness that it got us, how stupid of us to know all these things and have experienced all these things, and yet we do not fully want to commit. Hope that drink is good.
It's easier.
way.
It's lemonade. It's easier to not believe than it is to believe, right?
Well, I'm not saying I don't believe. I believe, obviously.
Okay, let me. Okay, it's easier to be like, oh, you know what? I'll stay home and I won't go to this Bible study because NXT is gonna be on tonight and I really want to watch it.
Yeah.
Or AEW is gonna be on tonight and I really want to watch it and I don't want to. It's okay. Or you know what? I'll just sleep in today. It's okay. I'm not gonna go to church today. I'll just sleep in because I'm tired.
Now here's the question. In essence, AEW and NXT are your job. After all, this is why we're YouTubers. What happens under that circumstance?
There's on demand.
This is true.
Okay.
That's what happens under that circumstance.
But what if you have a job that is measured in time?
Then you have to schedule you have to basically find a Bible study or a service that can go with your schedule.
Yep.
Ah. There we go. There we go.
I'll go to small group on Sunday. See?
There we go.
Sunday night.
Because God didn't... I mean, God wants us to worship Him, obviously. God is a jealous God. And He's also an awesome God. And...
Yes,
That's an awesome song, by the way.
it is.
God is
I
understanding.
think it's better in Spanish.
God is understanding, and despite all that, He wants us to also have fun.
Yep.
He doesn't
He
want
does
us...
want us to have a balanced life.
Yes. Which is why He gives doctors the ability to be doctors. Even though that's not in the category of fun, but I'm making a point here. Doctors have the ability to be doctors. Those are healers. Those, in essence, could be viewed as miracle workers. And in the essence of fun, that is why He gifts people with the ability to podcast, be actors, sing, be athletes.
You know, back in the 16, 15, 14, 1300s, you know what they used to call doctors, right? 1700s. They used to call them healers.
I know that, yes. That's why I use the phrase.
Yep, you'll go to a healer.
Yeah.
You know, there's a series called Left Behind, and I encourage anybody to go listen to the radio dramatization of it. And there's a man who was always questioning, yes, but I'm Jewish, Cameron.
Why would God be this way? Yes. But I'm not
don't
a bad
understand.
man.
Cameron. His name was Haim. Now, Lahaim, in Hebrew, means something God of life, something life. I can't remember exactly the translation, but Chaim wanted to have a soccer team. I wonder if he got it once he got to the New Earth. Because
Again,
he finally put his faith in God
Again.
after all the questioning and doubting.
Again, God encourages fun. If he didn't, then would there be athletes? Would there be singers? Would there be... No.
No.
It's a different story when we go into this concept of being entertainers. It's a different story when we ask, for whom does your entertainment purpose cater? That's when the complexion of things change. I look at athletes, I look at a wrestler such as Steve Borden, aka Sting. I look at Shawn Michaels, Christian folks.
Russell Wilson.
I look
you
at
can't
Russell
forget about
Wilson.
him.
I was getting to that. Of course you would.
Sorry.
I was...
Uh-oh.
Russell Wilson, great Christian man. I want you to speak on Russell Wilson and his faith, actually, Bugs.
Okay, I remember the second time that they won this championship and went to the Super Bowl back-to-back years. You know, instead of screaming and, oh my God, we're the greatest, he cried. Like, it was so emotional. Like, he actually broke down and said, thank you, God, for getting us here. Thank you for giving me the ability to play football. This is a blessing to go back to the Super Bowl.
Right. Right. And even after they lost in that stupid and horrific way, thank you for not running the RB. Anyway, he still said, this wasn't ours to win, but the Lord knows what he's doing.
Yes, he
It
did.
wasn't our time to win, but I got the greatest championship of all. And that's his relationship and walk with God.
Yep.
The Lord can use music, athletes, people involved in the filming industry. He could use these people to be a role model and to be an example.
Mm-hmm.
To be a role model, not in the sense of them parenting your children either, but to be a role model more so within the essence of, if this is what you desire, yes, go for it. But I also encourage you, my brother, my sister, to walk under this light, within this journey. And think about this. We say that it's hard for us to consistently walk in that path, to consistently hold on to that faith, to consistently shine that light. But look at what people like Shawn Michaels, Steve Borden, Russell Wilson, look at the environment around them. Drugs, politics,
Parties.
a lot of dirty stuff, man.
Women.
Women, yeah.
But in hearing these people's demonstration of faith, does the idea of, oh, they must be cheating, or oh, they must be unfaithful, or oh, they must get into the drugs themselves, that never hit me when I hear Russell Wilson speak, or Shawn Michaels speak, or Steve Borden speak.
No.
No.
Because you can see how strong their faith is, and how saddled they are on their horse.
You know what amazes me is when I watch one and these people come out, these athletes, these martial artists come out to Christian songs.
And the whole audience sings it with them.
Sings, yes.
It's
That's
amazing.
The first thing they do is what? After they win, they thank God.
So come on.
You know?
You can
Why can't we do that?
You can absolutely glorify God even with whatever skill set you've been presented in life.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
But my point is, those people aren't afraid. And they have more to deal with.
Yep.
They're constantly around the drugs,
scrutiny.
the women, the party, the drinking, We're not. We're not. And yet, just the concept of, change your life around and do what's good for yourself. Because, folks, let me be honest with you. If you want to be solid with God, you are doing what's good for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What benefits God benefits you, and what benefits you, God will reward. If and always it's in His name, and if and always it's following His rule and principalities. But yet, the concept of walking hand in hand with Jesus again, solidly, I gotta make that crucial point, solidly, consistently, we're wetting the bed at that idea.
Figuratively speaking.
Yes. Not Russell Wilson. You know what Russell Wilson does on his spare time when he's not playing football or practicing? He goes to children's hospitals, and he participates a lot, either at his local church or other churches, and gives his testimony. Come on, people. But you know what it comes down to as well? But they're athletes. No one's going to ridicule them.
Yes, they will. Even more so.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But you know what it also is? Those people who are going to ridicule these athletes, these movie stars, these singers, most of them people, they'll chop it up and say, people will usually say, but what's it to them? They don't know those people. And guess what? I will run with that argument, and this is why. It's more terrifying for us to get rejected by a loved one than a stranger.
Yep.
This is true.
Those athletes, those people under the public eye, have to worry only about getting rejected by people who more or less don't know them. And that's an easier pill to swallow than to have to swallow the pill of presenting your faith to someone that you love and care about, and them turning their head and saying no.
Right.
Or presenting yourself with that light and people not wanting to partake with you anymore just because. We think these things. It's a tough battle.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody got any other things to say here? Because
I think we've squozen everything.
think so.
See, told you that word. Yep, see, told you that word was great.
Yeah, I think we've squeezed everything out of this topic today.
No, stop it.
Well, we
Squozen, not
could talk about
squeezing.
this forever, actually, but
Well, we
don't
can,
have
yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, definitely.
Any closing statements from you, Bugs, or Crystal?
Well, I would like to make a special announcement now that I'm on the team. Me and Crystal will be having a ladies podcast starting next week. So I would like ladies, and you gentlemen too, to tune into that.
Yes, we both would. And please send us, oh my gosh, send us any suggestions you'd like.
The name of the podcast is
For
Les Solange.
Yep.
Yes, very creative name.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Bienvenue at la maison de l'expression et le... Okay, let me stop.
What'd you say?
Welcome to the house in question. Uh-huh. I don't know, I'm just trying to come up with something. Oh, what house in question? That's what's in question.
And on the Crime Syndicate next week, we're going to figure out why Jigglypuff puts people to sleep. No, we're really not, but I really want to know why.
Anyway. Ladies and gentlemen.
I'll do research on that.
This has been another...
Melissa thinks I'm funny.
Yeah. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of Endless Possibilities here, brought to you by the beautiful people at ENTHooligins. Before we leave, I wanna send my prayers and thoughts to our colleague Ness. He couldn't be here today because of family situations. Hopefully he'll be back with us tomorrow, but I encourage you guys to keep him in your thoughts, keep his family in your prayers, and be back to having fun tomorrow.
That's right.
With that said, I want to wish you guys a happy Thursday. Enjoy football, or whatever it is you're going to indulge in tonight. Please give us that sub, give us that thumbs up, share us, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, tell your family, tell your aunt, tell your uncle, tell your mom, tell your dad, your brother, your sister. We're for everyone. We're the entertainment hub for all. You want a little bit of crime and mystery. You want a little bit of faith talk. You want us to get spiritual. You want us to get down with the Lord. You want us to get down with sports. You want us to get down with anything, the nitty-gritty. Yeah. That's what we do here at ENTHooligins. We get controversial, baby. We don't mind getting our hands a little bit dirty, all right? So, with that said, be safe. Enjoy the rest of your day. Till tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. I am Baby Moy. She's Buggy Bugs. And she's Little Crystal. We are ENTHooligans. Till next time, folks, I give you a renowned, resounding, thunderous... See ya!
God bless. Peace.
Bye.
I was waiting for that. Yeah, ride the beat. Ride the beat. Want to take this chance, this opportunity to thank everybody for all the love, for all the support. That's right, it's your boy Baby Moy on the ones and twos, baby. Haha.